signs that we're in for trouble. All road in the rift behind. Killing time on things that money can buy.
And what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another live edition of Chris Akin Presents. I am Chris Akin. That dude over there, that's Erik, the guy in the front, not in the back. And we are back. We took a week off so that I could be sick, but we are back now. So welcome back, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has been. And really, I haven't even hardly talked to you even in the last 2 weeks. You've been busy. I've been sleeping.
Well, we're glad you're recovered. Everybody knows they missed the show because you weren't feeling good last week. Yeah, a little bit of flu, but you're back for the attack.
I am definitely good. It was. I will say this: as much as I don't like to miss shows, I really didn't mind having a whole week of no shows. It was really kind of I'm doing a lot of shows, obviously, between the two sets, this one, the CMS. It's a lot of hours in front of the camera, plus interviews, etc. It's a lot of hours, and it really, I wish I could have had the time off and been healthy, but at least I got to just kind of chill for a little bit, which was good. So, but all good now, and I'm ready to rock, ready to do this, and I'm going to start right off running, man.
Okay.
I saw something this morning. I think it was this morning, either this morning or late last night. And immediately I was like, Erik probably knows about this, but if he doesn't know about this, it's going to horrify him.
Right.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, one of your least favorite places to be on this planet is Atlanta Airport.
Oh, right. I'm there all the time.
And you love it, right?
No, opposite of that.
Did you see the news out of the Atlanta Airport today?
No. What's going on there?
Oh, well, this is going to make you so comfortable then, my friend.
Oh, God.
Because at the Atlanta airport, we had two planes crash into each other.
Oh, no. What airline was this?
I'm not sure. But here's the two planes that I don't know if you can see this real good. There's no way to make this bigger, but
right.
There's this plane over here on the left side that's kind of parked, and there's this guy here that's driving.
Okay.
And we'll watch what happens. So he's driving up. Guess he doesn't see that plane. Oh, he's knocking the tailwing off the plane.
Oh, wow.
One more time so you can see it. And boom.
Oh. And they were like sitting there waiting to take off.
Waiting to take off.
You guys aren't going anywhere.
No.
I'd be so pissed if I was one of those passengers on that plane that they clipped that thing on.
How lucky are they that nobody got hurt? From what I heard, nobody got hurt.
Right.
I mean, dude, if this plane, think about it, the plane that's actually moving that hit the tail wing, what if it was, say, another 2 feet to the left?
Right.
It would have chopped somebody's head off.
Possibly.
Yeah,
you got the very first thing that's in the back is that second area that they make drinks in and stuff, and then there's the bathroom, so that would give you a few more feet to clip, unless somebody's in the John.
I just assume that somebody that's in an airport all the time like you, this has to make you feel comfortable about flying, right?
No, it doesn't. I mean, it looks like the closest plane there's a Southwest plane.
Yeah.
But these different airlines might take the same runways. So
why do you think it is that we're having so many airplane problems these days? Seems like, we got landing gear falling off of multiple planes. We've got now do you ever, you're 50, right?
51.
51, I'm 55. I don't ever remember planes crashing on the runway. I remember them crashing, but I don't remember them driving into each other.
No, sometimes you see the baggage handler guy who does it sometimes.
Yeah, but never this. What
Yeah,
is going on with planes?
I don't know. I could only guess. Maybe I know that they lost a lot of pilots in the last couple of years. That could have something to do with it. The more seasoned ones aren't around anymore. Because a lot of I don't even want to get into all that, but it could be they're younger. I mean, the pilots I'm seeing look younger to me. So it could be a lack of experience, perhaps.
Do you think they're not trained as well?
Well, it's that experience that gives you the ultimate training, but no, I can't speak really on it. I haven't heard too much of the whys. I can only guess.
No, I mean, I don't fly almost never, so I don't have any experience with it. All I know is in the old days, whenever you talk to a pilot, the first thing they would tell you is about their, well, I flew this in the war, or I flew this in the military or whatever. And if you're saying they're all young, they're probably not military guys, right? Probably not, or most of them are probably not former.
I'm not sure, I'm not sure if they were military. I know that that's the go-to for the airlines, that they hire military pilots. That's where they go in and do a commercial after getting out of there. So I'd be surprised. I know, but there's a smaller fraction of them that do just learn how to fly and actually go commercial. I don't think it's a prerequisite that you're in the military first.
Right.
Maybe the training in the military is better. I don't know which guys are crashing. We need a little more info on this. My question is he fired today? Is he turning his
I can't imagine that he got I can't imagine that they departed and put him on another plane to take somebody to Jersey or something.
Yeah, like, was this guy drunk? Because sometimes they drink.
There could be that too, yeah. I'm seeing this a bunch, and I'm going to put it up only so I can dispel it. I'm not saying that there are not DEI hires in all walks of life that are bad. I'm saying that and I could be way, way off the mark on this. I am speaking completely out of my ass right now. But I'm assuming in a position like an airline, you still got to pass a shitload of tests in order to be given that front seat. Right. I don't imagine that they bring you in and say, oh, you're black, sit down. I imagine you still got to know every controller in that cockpit, or else
there's not that many controls in there.
Is there not? I don't even know.
No, I recently, I had posted a short video on my page somewhere where they let me get in the cockpit after a harrowing day of almost missing the flight, and they held this whole flight for me. And these were younger guys, by the way. I would guess they looked to me like 40 at the oldest, early 40s maybe. But they had held the plane. They played instruments themselves, and they sympathized with our situation that they needed me for this show tomorrow, and it was the last flight of the night. Right. And these guys were cool enough to wait. I ended up having so many issues even after we finally landed. The jet bridge did not at Minneapolis did not open all the way. Oh, and funny enough, I was just there again. We had played. We had to go to Minnesota. No, was it Minnesota? Maybe. I don't know. Anyways, the same jet bridge didn't open again. It was just like same one. I don't know. I wish they could fix their crap over at these airports. But anyway, back to the pilots. They let me. I introduced myself after the flight. I go, "I was the guy you waited for," and they're like, "Oh, hey, you want to come sit down in the cockpit?" And I was like, "Do I?" And I filmed it for a second, and I looked, and there wasn't really that much going on. There was looked like under 40 buttons that were around. There was a main stick. Yeah. I mean, I was actually underwhelmed. I remember the older aircraft had much more stuff going on everywhere.
All right, does that make you more comfortable or less comfortable? Because in order to have less buttons means that there's more computers.
Probably,
Which means
it was
there's
737. It was seven. I believe it was.
I'm just thinking the less buttons there are, the less likely they are to be able to fix something by doing something.
Right. Well, I mean, as long as it's not an Airbus, those are the ones I hear the most negative things about.
Yeah.
Computer wise, like I guess the other jets, they could muscle them in if they had to. If they lost the engines, they could still pull on the rudder
the
thing,
stick or whatever. Right.
take the stick and actually try to like land this thing somehow, where those other ones you're pretty much screwed if something happens. But I think they've phased out a lot of those Airbuses.
Okay. If
Most
you
of them
were
using
on
the
one of those
737.
planes
Mhm.
and they said, we need someone to land it, would you step up and do it or no?
Think about that all the time. I have that hero fantasy
right.
going of like, well, I wonder how freaked I would be. And man, I think I would have trouble keeping my composure in a situation like that, knowing that I'm going to have to hit the ground in this thing, being under trained for it.
I can totally see it too. As you get close, you're screaming, ah! You know, as you're going down.
Right. I mean,
I don't imagine you're just like, God.
In the movies I've seen, they've usually have somebody that gets on and talks them through it. Okay, look over to your left. You see that blinking red button?
Right.
You push that. And in those situations, I know I would at least keep my composure enough to sit down and listen to what he's saying. And after seeing what's in there isn't too much stuff there. I mean, I would imagine it's the speed, the altitude.
Right. And holding that nose up enough so it doesn't go straight into the cement.
Right. Now, I don't know if they're able to take over the plane. I thought they had that since 9/11 or something, that they were able to.
They probably do now.
Take control of the plane if they had to. That technology's there for them. I remember that was a anti-terrorist thing they were putting into play in the early 2000s. So I would imagine that's there.
Right. I'd imagine so. I mean, I don't know. I didn't do this. Well, I did do this just to scare you. I ain't going to lie.
Yeah, you're making me very uncomfortable. I only have to fly every weekend for the rest of the year.
And most of the time through Atlanta.
Yeah, definitely have more flights through Atlanta.
That's why I thought of it, dude. Is when I saw it this morning on the news and they were like, here at Atlanta Airport, I was like, Atlanta? You know, that woke me up because you talk about Atlanta all the time. And then when they saw one plane just smash into another, I was like, oh, my God.
Well, at least it was on the ground, you know. It wasn't
yeah,
in
well,
the air or something.
And nobody was hurt. Nobody was killed or anything. All that stuff is great.
Right.
But for you, who you in the Atlanta airport would be like most people getting on the highway to go to work.
Right.
You know, it's the same level of travel.
There's 600 people there between the two planes probably that are going to have a terrible day that aren't going anywhere. Right. You know, how are they going to get them all on another flight? You know, I don't know what time this happened at, but they're probably all staying in Atlanta, which is awful. I can tell you firsthand.
Well, thankfully, you have not been in a plane crash, but from what I understand, you had your share of no sleep because of the planes in the last week or so. Yes,
right. Not because of the planes. We did play with Vince Neil in Las Vegas this past weekend, and it was record heat going on in Vegas at this time, and we had to play outdoors, which was kind of tough. But it was Fremont Street. Are you familiar with Fremont Street?
I've been there, yeah.
In Vegas. I mean, it is crazy at night on Fremont Street. And there's it's almost like an outdoor strip bar, pretty much. You know, there's just dancers everywhere. One thing that was really funny, I put a clip of it on my page. This guy in an ape suit was like dancing to this it's all hip hop. You just hear hip hop going on through the system all through Fremont. And this guy in an ape suit's just shimmying and doing all these dance moves and stuff. It was like crazy. There was these dominatrix women like pulling guys over and whipping them on the street. There was women on top of bars. It was like craziness going on. And I was walking with a friend of mine and his wife and kid through all this. So that was kind of uncomfortable for, you know, their whatever he is, 11-year-old, he's seeing all this, you know, walking down the street. But basically we had to be up. I think lobby call was 4 a.m. to go to the Rocktoberfest in Hinckley, Minnesota. So I was going to have to wake up myself by 3:30 in the morning, and it's already, you know, 11 or 12. Well, there's no signs of Fremont Street shutting down at that time. It was just, you know, I was like, oh my God. And I always forget to like ask for a room not on that side, because I was literally like overlooking it, and it's crazy just how loud the bass swells up with that kind of music.
Right.
And there is no sleeping. Like you would need some serious like canceling headphones or something to put on to diffuse that. So yeah, there was no sleeping for me. So that first night, no sleep. Got to Rocktoberfest, no sound check, and we probably should have gone back to the hotel and gone to sleep. Instead, we were standing around there trying to figure out what we were going to do with the situation. What ended up happening was just before we went on, we did like a line check and tried to get our inner monitors all at least good enough to go out there. I think the show sounded good. Any of the videos I saw from either night, the band, we sounded good. It was the first time I was using these Ultimate ears,
baby.
Right. Yep. That Joe Lester of Steel Panther, for fans of Steel Panther, he works with Ultimate Ears, and he was like my connect over there. Some people were saying that's a great gift because I had thanked him when I got it. No, he did not give them for free. I had purchased them. I mean, I got a modest, artist discount for it, which I appreciated.
He just gave you the recommendation.
Well, Matt Thorne, told me I should get these, and Blas Elias told me I should get these.
Okay.
Because he, Blas plays with, Trans-Siberian Orchestra. He plays in the Rock Vault in Las Vegas. And he's like, this is what people do now. This is how all the artists are expected to be using these when you're playing in any kind of gig like that. Okay. So it's an investment for the future too. If I was to get involved in something like Rock Vault or something like that, I would need these as well. So it's something that I had the money now, so I did it. What was cool is we had these shows this past weekend, and it was only a week before that Matt gave me his number. That Monday, I hit him up. He got back to me. They set up a 3D ear scan the very next day at their Irvine office.
Okay.
And you basically go up there, and she puts a thing in your ear and does the sonar or whatever.
Right.
She happened to I don't know if she was just, yanking my chain, but she told me I had some of the best ears they've ever seen. It was just very no weird caverns going everywhere and all that.
Okay.
So it was very easy to get the mold, and I was like, okay, awesome. And it was, they showed up, and I'll show you guys what they look like on here. You don't have to go full screen. I'll just pull them right here. But these are like clear. I chose the clear ones. They have different colors you can do.
Okay. Yeah.
But I like these because you can see the guts inside of them, and I always thought that was cool. And stuff like
I've got the red ones with the guts.
Yeah, that's cool.
Red and clear.
Nice. Yeah, you can get little snap-on things with these if you wanted to pay extra, change the colors. But I was like, I don't have hair to like hide these things under, and I'm like, God, I don't want to make it too pronounced. Sure. And I thought these would look the least conspicuous, if you will.
Right. Sure.
It was I had a little bit of anxiety, going this route because, the 25 years in this band, I've never used something like this on stage. So it was all of a sudden you have headphones on, and it's like you're listening to the show through headphones, and it's weird. It's honestly, but
does it also feel weird that like you don't want to move around as much because you're afraid of knocking them out or anything?
Well, no, I mean, that was the only benefit really, is that wherever you move around, it sounds exactly the same.
Okay.
That was an issue on these bigger stages. Like if I was to go, hey, I want to go rock out to the people over here on the left, and I go over there, all of a sudden I can't hear my guitar at all anymore.
Okay.
Or at best out of the side fill. These side fills at these bigger shows are cranking sometimes, and those will blow your ears out.
Right.
So these are actually protecting my ears. I already suffer from tinnitus. So this actually will be better for me in the long run. And it does articulate everything. So we hear every little nuance of a mistake or, anything like that. It's a little drier than being at the concert and hearing the loud, big performance. Those kind of things are covered. But
it's like a board feed.
Yeah, pretty much. But I think we're all on them now. Johnny's using them. Bloss is using them. Matt's using them. Steven's the only one not. But I don't know if he would make the change to that, and I don't know if he would like show up to sound check.
After 50 years of doing it, I don't think he's going to be making any changes.
Probably not. So, but as far as the band goes, I think we're tighter now. from it, and I can do it with this. After doing the 2 shows, I go, okay, I got it. This is cool, and it's helping me to put on a little better performance, being able to hear my vocal consistently, where I don't get too hot up on the microphone, to be like where I'm like shouting into it or whatever. I can like keep better mic control with what I'm hearing, and anything I saw looked good. So it was a good report on that. The things fit perfect. I'm going to bring them out. The other thing I had to buy, I apparently had to buy, is a receiver for it. And I got a Sennheiser G4. That was like another $1,000.
Right.
Now, it turns out we haven't even needed that yet. Both of these shows, they gave us the transmitters and the receivers and everything. So that was
now,
something.
is that a box or is that a thing like this thing?
It is somewhat like that. I mean, it has a little transmitter that you would put in your back pocket, that's a wireless transmitter, and then there's the receiver part, which is plugged into a pedal board with a mixer, and that's what they would be sending a signal to my mixer, and then that would be going into the receiver, and then that wirelessly sends to these from there. But these bigger shows, they seem to have all that. Like they have eight transmitters for the band, because again, that's where most of the artists are using these, and I've known that for a long time. Most singers I've seen have been using these things for 20 years now. Also, all the bands that are on tracks, that is kind of important too, that they hear all these little samples and stuff that are going on. You tell them what you want in there, obviously. You let the monitor guy know, I want drums, guitars, vocals. I only want mine here. Pan it this way, pan it that way. You try to get it to sound as awesome as possible, but you're getting a stereo mix in there. So that's kind of cool. And I mean, I got used to it pretty quick. I'm going to stay with using them. Cause I think it helps the overall sound of the performance, that everybody's playing tighter. They can hear each other better. Everybody knows where they're at a little easier.
Right. Now let me ask you this. This has nothing to do with the gear as much as I'm just curious what happens for the band. I know you have gigs for the rest of the year, right? Like pretty much every weekend.
Yes.
Is Blas gonna be leaving for a while?
Right.
Is he going to do TSO?
Yeah, he does do TSO. I think that is like November, December. So I don't want to be the one. I know who's playing drums for us, and it's somebody very cool that everybody knows. That's
I was just curious if he's still in TSO or not, or if he was out of that.
Oh no, he's totally in it. That's like that's his life, And honestly, since you brought that up, I haven't really checked out TSO too much, especially with him or whatever, but I saw some drum camp footage of Blas playing with them, and wow, that is an amazing performance. You've
never seen it?
I've never seen it. No. So not really.
And Blas now, you and Susan need to go see it.
Right.
Even if you hate the Christmas music or what, it doesn't even matter. It's such a great show. Well, I don't like the music especially, but it's a killer show. I mean, it really is a great show.
Right. I mean, they got it's like Kiss. They got like guitars coming up out on the platforms and fire and flames and all this distracting stuff. And these guys have to be really on point with these Christmas songs that they're doing. It's very like classical, dun, 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 dun. I don't know, but it's like the Nutcracker, the sugar dance of the Plum Fairy. I don't know.
Right. It's a great show, and there's a lot of great people in that band too, dude. I mean, in the West band, which I guess would be the one that you're seeing, Zach Stevens, I think, is in that, and
the Vixen singer sings in it.
the Vixen singer Mariah from Plush is in that.
Right, Mariah got the gig.
I'm trying to think who.
I think Jordan Ziff is on guitar on
Joel Hoekstra, Jeff Scott Soto.
There's an East Coast.
A lot of great people.
There's an East Coast and a West Coast.
Right.
These guys end up doing multiple shows a day. It's like grueling. It's a whole thing. It becomes their life.
Right.
And they all get compensated very well for it. And it's pretty much enough for the whole year just in those 2 months. It's like when the guys do the crab fishing
Right, right,
for
right.
2 months, and they do this treacherous thing and then come back, and they can chill for the rest of the year. It's kind of like that. But I would imagine everybody's practicing for that thing all year and staying in shape. And
Sure. Yeah, it must be a great gig to have. There's only been a few people that have ever left it. There really has only been just a handful of people that have actually left TSO. I think people, if you get in there, you realize that you won a lottery ticket and you stay on it.
right. Yeah, probably. I mean, you have to be pretty much the best of the best, as far as not
Yeah.
just a proficient player, but a whole performer. They want a performance going on.
Yeah, I think it probably has as much to do with the look too as the I think you'd have to grow your hair out for you to get in there. You'd have to definitely grow your hair out. They ain't taking any mohawks, I don't think, but
Well, we don't know that, and I can't.
I'm
I
look-
really can't grow my hair out. I'm like I'm not. I don't have hair growing back here. I'm in my 50s. But I think that I make up for that in my performances and my playing. Not that I would play in this thing, or I'm up to that level.
would you be
of it.
comfortable playing in a suit?
Well,
That's
yeah,
a weird thing too.
I've played in not maybe I don't know what degree of a suit, but I've worn like blazers and stuff on stage. So it depends, but in modern metal and stuff, I think the old stereotypes of having to have this certain 80s hairdo or something to play in the band has kind of gone by the wayside.
Yeah, that's true.
I think as long as like somebody looks cool, that's the important thing. You know what I mean? You don't want to slob up there, you know what I mean? Jamming, but somebody, who's in shape and at least has a look,
Sure.
in that sense. But, I've never allowed myself to be disqualified over hair,
Right,
from
sure.
anything. I mean, my talents are in my fingers and in my heart, as far as that goes.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting. I'm interested to hear who's going to be playing for you guys, but we'll hear that probably in a few weeks.
Yeah, I think they'll figure that out within probably about a month. I just don't want to be the one to break that.
No. Lord knows that's all we need to do is
Right.
seems like everything's flowing well right now. We do not need to churn that up again, do we?
Right, and then Bloss will be right back with us because he's been definitely a big improvement to the band in a lot of ways. But I think the dude that's coming in is also a great performer and known,
Cool.
and I think he's going to keep it rocking for those 2 months.
Right. Do you feel like, and I don't just mean just when he's there, but I mean, do you think when a guy like Bloss, who is, very top end talent, do you think that makes all of you guys play better? Like raise your game?
I'd say so. I mean, it's made me also kind of invest some more too with everything, clothes and just gear and stuff like that. Whatever I could do to be as professional,
Right.
I'm trying to do as well. Plus, I know Steven wants to keep things up at a higher level right now too.
Sure.
So I'm just trying to pull my weight. I just kind of worrying about myself right now. Just trying to put on the best shows I can. I'm walking 5 miles a day, trying to make sure I don't get too fat out there.
Walking off that pizza.
Oh man, yeah, I do still eat crappy stuff. I mean, last night this was really cool. Susan and I went to see Beetlejuice
Okay.
2, and that's why I have them up here. But we did the whole popcorn and soda and candy and all that shit.
Right.
I'm sure we both probably gained like 2 pounds last night. But we had a great time. She had to work at the office yesterday. I said, hey, let's meet over at the Carlsbad Mall over here. Our sushi place that we go to is like right across.
Okay.
I took her out for a sushi dinner at our spot. And then we went to an early show at the Regal, which was like at 6:30, which actually worked out nice because we're old. We go to bed by 9 or 10. You know what I mean? Usually. So it worked out. Like we had this great meal, headed over to the mall. I had done the movie tickets on the app,
Okay.
on there. So I had those. there was people that bought tickets, but most of the seats were open for that showing. So we got 2 good seats right in the middle. So we headed over there, got the big ass popcorn. But at the same time, I still had stopped at Dollar General and picked up the Raisinets, the Whoppers, the Junior Mints, because that ended
all
up
the shit that you shouldn't be eating.
all the stuff I shouldn't be eating. But I still don't. I can pay for the big popcorn and the soda, but I'm not paying $7-8 a box for the candies and stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? I got all that stuff at the dollar store for like $4.
Yeah, there you
got
go.
4 different things, and that's just the old.
Meanwhile, you'd have bought 1 box of Goobers for $9 at the theater.
I can't do it. But yeah, so treat her to dinner and a movie, and so Beetlejuice. It was I was told mixed reviews on it, but we had a lot of fun seeing it, and I think it definitely delivered to any fans of the franchise. Tim Burton, love his aesthetic that he uses on his films and everything, that kind of dark but not too scary kind of thing going on, and he continues that with this film. William Dafoe is awesome in it. Danny DeVito's got a part. The only guy missing in this was the dad from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Well, he's in like jail or something, isn't he?
I don't think he's in jail, but he's he definitely had to register as a sex.
He's like
offender.
a kid. He's a kid toucher or something.
They're
probably not bringing him in.
I don't know if he got caught with that. But I apparently he had all the images on the computer thing going on, and he got busted with an underage kid coming over to model under the guise of modeling for him for some art project, right? Some
Chris Hansen showed up at his door. Come in and have a seat.
Probably did. Now, it's the irony is like, okay, he was in the movie, but they really had him in it a lot, in the sense of they did a whole claymation segment to explain why he died, because not to spoiler alert the movie, but in the movie he's dead. And they basically go, yeah, he was in like a plane crash, got eaten by a shark, all this stuff. And they have this whole claymation kind of segue to like go in there. And I thought that was interesting that they gave him so much screen time of him. They show a picture of him. So he is in the movie in the sense of them talking about it through half the movie. His character is brought up. So it's not like they just had moved on. Oh, yeah, he died. And anyway, and, it was like, they probably have at least 25 minutes of references to that guy. So for whatever that's worth.
The one thing that I've heard about that movie, and I don't know if this is true or not, you can tell me. In the original, and I don't think people remember this, but in the original, Beetlejuice was only in it like 10, 12, 15 minutes.
Like, was that it?
Yeah, it's not a lot. It's most of the story was Winona Ryder. And there was just like 15 minutes of Beetlejuice in the whole
Alec
movie.
Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis. Now they're not in it either, but they had the ones that were important. Obviously, Winona Ryder. Right. The one that I thought was great is Catherine O'Hara.
Okay.
She was obviously in the first one, and she looks great still. She's got to be in her 70s, or something. But she plays Winona's mom, and she did a great job of it. And between her and Winona and Michael Keaton in there, I was good. And where they picked up the slack was getting Willem Dafoe and having Danny DeVito in there, and you're good. That's enough. Michael Keaton did a great job. It seemed to me that, they didn't have as much special effects for him as they did maybe in the first one.
Right.
I think they really spent a lot. I felt like the first Beetlejuice was pretty groundbreaking. Sure. Where this one, they might have been able to knock out a lot quicker. Perhaps. You'll have to watch it. Chris said he watched part of it.
Yeah, I did watch part of it. I'll have to watch it.
Is it worth seeing in the movies? Yes. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up. Michael Keaton's great. William Dafoe. I think you won't be disappointed if you go and check it out if you're a fan of the first one. It was really cool.
Who did not have a crush on Winona Ryder back in the day? She still looks good.
She still looks good. They had a really beautiful woman in it that plays Beetlejuice's ex-wife. Her name's let me see. Oh, her name's Monica Bellucci.
Oh yeah.
Do you know who that is?
Yes, I do. She's a stunner.
Yeah, she stuns in this one as well. And Danny Elfman is back to do the soundtrack on it, which
Okay.
sounded phenomenal. Like I was kind of taking it in as a musician while I was sitting there listening to what he created, and he does a lot of the same like Trans-Siberian Orchestra
Sure.
kind of stuff. But the amount of time and effort that must have gone into creating that symphony he has going in that Dolby stereo.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty over the top. I mean, that guy is the master of doing that kind of music. So all that stuff's cool.
Well, you saw a movie. I saw a movie.
What did you see?
I saw Alien Romulus.
Oh man, I got to hear about this.
If you like, it's a pretty simple formula, really. If you like Alien and Aliens, you will like it.
Hey man, you like face huggers?
That's pretty much.
Hey man, you like gut busters? I like it all,
dude. I'm an Alien fan. I own all of them. I have been very disappointed in the last couple of releases of the especially Prometheus. I really did not like. Mm-hmm. This was a return to form. It was really, really well done. My favorite part of it probably has nothing to do with the acting or the kills or the monster or any of that. My favorite part of it was they went back to the really gritty, raw look of it. Remember in the first Alien, how it, we were in that world of Star Wars at that point when Alien came out. Right. And when, everything looked real nice. The Death Star looked cool. And, even what were supposed to be shitty ships like the Millennium Falcon looked pretty cool. And X-Wings looked cool. And TIE Fighters looked cool. Then we had like Battlestar Galactica and all their ships looked real cool. The Cylon ship and stuff. All that looked cool. And then you got Alien. And Alien looked like a garbage truck that was floating in space. It was a really dingy, which made it more scary to me because there was like nothing clean about it. It was just like dirty. And here comes this dirty, filthy, drooling, spitting creature. There was just something about it, and maybe I overmade that up in my head because I was like 8 or whatever when it came out. Right. But I loved that look. And then I don't know, did you see Prometheus at all?
Right. I own all these as well.
Okay.
I own all the Aliens, so I've seen them all.
So you remember how clean Prometheus was? All the white, and the white rooms, and it was a bad movie. Because it didn't fit. It didn't fit with the theme, I guess. Right. It was too clean. Okay. This is right back to that raw, dirty. All you needed was the ghost of Yaphet Kotto to come back, and it would have been perfect. I mean, it was. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Maybe a touch long, but I don't care. Give me a 3-hour movie as long as it's all good. I'm into that. So, yeah, well worth watching.
I think Prometheus, I don't know how much of the H.R. Geiger influence it had compared to the others. Am I saying his name right? Is it it's Geiger?
I think it's Geiger.
Okay. Yeah, his stuff was so unique. His alien artwork and everything and his alien, there was nothing like it up until then. In the beginning, they used guys in suits to do the alien, and then in some of them, I think they went to a CGI one where it wasn't quite as good. I think when she goes to the prison one, I don't think they were in suits on that.
Yeah, no.
Sigourney Weaver. The stories took a weird.
Well, they had the idea. They made the 2 movies, and then because they were successful, they just kept making movies. It's kind of like every other movie from the 80s, the Jason Voorhees and the Freddy Krueger and all those other ones, they ran out of the ideas, but they just kept churning them out.
Right.
That's what they did with,
Well,
was there
definitely
6 aliens.
the first two terrified our whole generation.
Yeah.
I've told the story before, but the first time I saw the first Alien, my dad had VCRs and stuff, even in the in like the late 70s, and he had Alien on like VHS tape, and he hooked it up to a little TV, and they put it in my room, and they went out or something. They're like, here, and I stay home and watch Alien, and I was like 8, and this thing just grossed me out, freaked me out. I was really terrified watching it. Like, it's not something an 8-year-old, but you know, should have probably watched. But then by the time Aliens Part 2 came out, by then I was like 12, and I was already like starting to go to the movies, even by myself, for stuff. And I went and saw that in the movies, and I loved it so much that I remember I stayed in the theater when it came on the second time. I acted like I was there early to see the second show, but I was still hanging out from the first one.
Right.
And loved that movie. And then the rest, none of them really had the same effect on me after the second one. I will disagree that I did enjoy Prometheus.
Did
And
you?
I did, just in the sense that they kind of gave some answers of creation that I thought were intriguing and interesting. I liked the engineers and how they looked they were like humanoid, but looked a little more evolved or something,
right?
Or just better, genetically better. And you know, I didn't mind it. And Charlize Theron was in it.
Right.
She was cool. But it didn't quite have the same battling zombies or battling aliens like some of the other ones had.
Yeah. Well, this one is back to the. I mean, I will say, and I'll give the spoilers. I'm telling you in advance. I'm going to tell you what I saw.
Okay.
So this goes back to the same way as the old school one. Remember in the old school one, in the first one, basically, you had all those guys. They were just kind of random scumbags. They weren't really good at what they were doing. They touched up some stuff which set the aliens loose, and the aliens went crazy. It's kind of like Star Wars Episode 4 versus Star Wars Episode 1, where it's almost the same plot. Because in this one, you have another collaboration of kind of misfit people, and a few of them get loose, and they accidentally turn off this temperature control thing, which makes all the face huggers come back to life.
Oh, nice.
And so then they come back to life and start picking off people. Sort of the same plot. You know, it's very similar in that way, but let's face it, are any of us watching alien movies looking for, you know, Academy Awards? I don't think so.
They always keep the same kind of theme, but usually there's like an AI life form aboard the ship that's actually like making sure orchestrates things, because the corporation has an interest in the xenomorph, and it seems like in most of the ones that was the guy who was doing something to protect the alien in most cases, and the humans on board were always unaware of this agenda. They never
know what's up.
Except for Paul Reiser. Paul Reiser was, you know, played the dick guy in the second one pretty well.
Right.
He seemed to be the only guy in the know.
Yeah. Are you going to go see this movie?
Well, after hearing you say that, I think I would like to. The question is, can I get Susan to come see this movie?
Oh, is she not a horror person?
No, not at all. I'm kind of not so much anymore either, unless it's done tastefully. But she really loved last night. I could see she was laughing and having a good time. So that was a win for us as a couple.
I'm sort of with you with this with horror. I'm not really big into. I loved in the 80s and early 90s. You couldn't put a horror movie out that I didn't go and see. Like I lived for horror movies. In the later 90s and 2000s, it became more gore porn than horror. You know, when you had Saw and you had Hostel and, you know, movies like that, they lost me because there wasn't, look, some of the scariest movies really didn't have a whole lot of gore and blood. You know, the Poltergeist. Poltergeist was scary as hell as a kid. There's hardly anything really that's going on.
Just a couple scenes.
A couple. Same with like The Omen. The Omen, and what was the one with the house?
House. There is a movie
Not
called
the,
House.
no, it's got the rounded house with the windows. It looks like a face.
Oh, Amityville.
Amityville Horror. You know, all of those movies. But I was a huge fan then of kind of the cheaper movies, but would build like that horrific suspense in it, like Magic. I don't know if you ever saw Magic.
Mhm.
Magic.
I remember Magic.
Magic was almost nothing happens the whole movie, but the 2 or 3 times something does, you're jumping over your couch running, you know, because it's just scary. And I love those kind of movies. I really like you. And maybe I'm reading this with you, but I don't like I'm yet to watch a full Saw movie. I just don't.
Agreed.
dig
I
it.
don't like to watch people get tortured.
I just don't dig. Well, you're gonna have to cut his eye out and stick a key behind his eye. Get out of here with that shit. You know, I don't want to see that.
Or Hostel, or
Hostel.
the Human Centipede, or
Yeah,
those ones.
that,
It's
or-
just too much.
What was the one too where they were on the ski lift, and the one guy jumped down and his legs like snapped in half? Oh, I was like, oh, that's too much for me. You know,
Sometimes
there's
just the music alone can work to creep
Yeah.
you without like The Shining. The Shining is one of those ones that just
Yeah, Shining is scary as shit. But again, not a ton really happens.
no.
There's not a lot of gore, and even the ones that did have the kills, you know, your Friday the 13th and Halloween and whatever, the kills were so goofy that you didn't really feel it,
Right.
you know.
Beetlejuice, also had a little bit of, gore special effects, but done in a cheeky way or whatever,
Sure.
Almost not animated way, but everything just seems so kind of surreal in the
Sure.
Beetlejuice movie, like almost like a weird dream or something.
Right.
Some of the Freddy Krueger movies were like that almost a little bit.
Like 3 and 4.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
and those weren't too bad either. Like the Freddy Kruegers, those weren't too violent.
No, they were fine. I didn't mind those at all. You know, it's when it just got to be gore that I absolutely was like, forget this. I don't want to watch this. It's too much for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that makes me a pussy or whatever.
I guess there's enough of that in the world. You don't need to
Yeah,
put it at
there is. Well, that's it. I can just
putting
watch
it
the
in.
news. I can watch the news and see that these days. But
one of my subscribers, big fans, Marsha, was asking about stuff in Ohio about people stealing people's pets. Like, I guess, are these
the
what's going on there,
Springfield-
Chris?
Springfield thing.
What happened?
I
seeing
haven't
bits and
seen it.
pieces.
Well, they imported 20,000 Haitian refugees to Springfield, and now all of a sudden we got a problem with pets being killed and people squatting and blah blah blah. I mean, it's a problem. It's the problem that you're going to hear about more and more across the country. Because there's nowhere for these people, and I hate to say these people like some racist douchebag, but
Right.
I'm going to in this case. There's nowhere for them to live, so they're doing what they got to do to survive. You know, and
They're getting dispersed across the country, I guess.
yeah. Well, they get flown all over the place, and I mean, dude, Springfield, Ohio. I don't know that before they moved people into it, it had 20,000 people.
Wow.
It's not a big city.
So it's
not-
doubled in half the population, or these?
Yeah, it's not Cleveland. It's not Columbus. It's not Cincinnati. It's a smaller, like my town is probably a similar size, and I think my town has 16,000 people.
Wow.
Maybe.
Small. Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not huge. It's, you know, it takes 5 minutes to drive from end to end, either north to south or east to west. It doesn't take very long. It's a smaller community. Springfield's a little bigger than that, but not that big. Yeah, it's scary as shit. That's why you'll never see me too far away from my guns anymore. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. I mean, people want to probably know how to stay safe in a situation like that. But for one, I think, obviously they should be harassing the hell out of all the mayors and
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
governors and stuff. They should, the whole population there should be relentless
They should.
with them for a solution, firstly. And then if that doesn't work, yeah, shotgun to protect your pets and households.
And there's other things. There's things that are going on that are just so, you have to retrain yourself to be a little less human. And I hate to say it that way, but that's exactly how it is. I'll give you a primary example. There was a situation in Springfield that I heard about last week where somebody was banging on the door like 2 a.m, saying, help, 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 you know, like an emergency thing. Opened the door and 8 people rushed them, beat the shit out of them, threw them out of their own house.
That's a new thing now. The distress, the baiting the good people in with the distress, fake distress, and then robbing them. That's another reason why maybe subconsciously I don't get involved in those kind of things. And I've been in those situations where I've had the beating on the door for help kind of thing, and I'm like, yeah, I'll help you, 911. You know, like I don't want to necessarily let myself into a violent situation, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it is brutal. Here, I'll show you.
My population, by the way, I was looking up for Oceanside where I live, 172,199 as of 2022.
But
it's Oceanside, California.
But even with that population, if you drop 20,000 homeless people in there, that would be a problem.
Right. They do drop off a significant amount. There's probably 20. Oh, there's more than that. I mean, just in Los Angeles alone,
I know,
there's like a million or something.
I'm just saying, if they dropped them a block from your house.
Right. They are.
Are they really? Ooh.
Well, I mean, I go for my walks. As I said, I walk 5 miles. Now I probably go, 2.5 miles this way and then back,
Right.
But I probably see, 40 homeless people in that time. You know what I mean? Just look a mess,
Yeah.
One guy was walking past today. He was like, had like a golf club, and I had to keep in mind, hey, this guy might rush me or attack me. Yeah. We had another issue. The most recent scary thing that we dealt with here was gangs, like Mexican gang initiation, where they go or maybe, I don't know if it's an initiation, but definitely gang members taking baseball bats and just attacking people here at the harbor. They came down and just randomly started beating people, and then they did it again somewhere else. They finally got these guys, but that's scary stuff to see it turn into like a third world country,
dude. And it is, and thankfully it has not hit my town yet. But I will say, I am much more vigilant. Like today, I went out today, I had some errands to run today. Right. Absolutely had the pistol with me and had it out. Wasn't even going to tuck it away or put it in a belt or put it in a holster, nothing. I had it in hand. Did I need it?
Bad,
no.
Huh? That bad.
Well,
there?
Did I need it? No. Right. Did I get some weird looks? Yes. But you know what? I guarantee there wasn't anybody saying that's the guy I got to go knock over.
Yeah.
Because they knew they'd catch a bullet. They don't want that. They want the easy targets. Look at this video. I'm going to show you a video. There's plenty of these videos on X.
Okay.
This lady in Springfield speaking at the city council.
Okay.
I'm done with what I'm seeing. It is so unsafe in my neighborhood anymore. I have the homeless that were trying to camp out, and I have made concessions with them, and I try to help them the best I can to keep them from trying to squat on my property. But it is so unsafe. I have men that cannot speak English in my front yard screaming at me, throwing mattresses in my front yard, throwing trash in my front yard, and I can't. Look at me, I weigh 95 pounds. I couldn't defend myself if I had to. My husband is elderly, and last night, after living in this home for 45 years, he said, Noelle, guess what? It's time to pack up and move. He said, we can't do this anymore. He said, it's killing both of us mentally. I don't understand what you expect of us as citizens. I mean, I understand they're here under temporary protected status, and you're protecting them, and I understand that our city services are overwhelmed and understaffed. But who's protecting us? If we're protecting them, who's protecting me? I want out of this town. I am sorry. Please give me a reason to stay. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
does that
sad.
scare you to death or what?
Right. Yeah, this seems like a order out of chaos, just intentionally
It
creating
is.
this chaos everywhere because there's no reason for it. They have
No.
FEMA camps have been set up for years, and we've always
Mm-hmm.
wondered what they're going to do with those. That's like in the conspiracy world,
Sure.
that's been a thing for like at least 10, 15 years now, all these coffins and FEMA camps and all this stuff. But there's definitely a place to, if there's all these like illegal people coming here for some kind of safety or whatever, they could put them in those camps until they figure out what to do. They shouldn't be dumping
Yeah.
them in neighborhoods, obviously, or taking down the property values anywhere, sticking them all in the hotels or whatever they do. There's a weird ways they deal with this.
Well, and the worst part about it is more than likely if you defend your property, you'll be the one going to jail. The
Right.
cops will not come and get these people out of your yard or out of your house or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if you pull a gun on them and put it in their face and say, "Get the fuck out of my house," they will absolutely arrest you for that.
Right.
And they'll take your gun away for not for not
They're-
not being a law abiding gun owner.
Right. They're threatening our happiness in the real world and the virtual world. I just had to like freeze all my credit because
Why?
I got an alert that on CreditWise or whatever for Capital One that my social security number was on the dark web and
great.
it was being used, and they started showing that it was they were trying to use it with certain addresses that I've had in the past. Like, because I've always been an apartment guy, and there's, even though I lived the same one for about 16 years, they were trying to use the places I lived before that, like for places in the 90s and the early 2000s. Now, I don't know if that information is more readily available for free for people, like that it was just a lazy thing and they didn't actually pay to get my current address. Because if they did, they would have been able to like open some credit up. It was also showing the names that they were using, that they were trying to use for it. But this just also happened to Matt, or Matt had frozen his stuff anyway recently, was telling me about it, and that's what made me think of it. CreditWise was like, "Would you like to act? Do you want to do something about this?" And I was like, yeah. And so I hit the button. They go, "Well, here's the 3 credit agencies. You can just freeze everything right now, and that way no one can open up anything
Right.
in your name." My credit rate, it basically protects your credit rating for like up to a year or something.
Okay.
Now, if I want to get a new car or something like that, I'm going to have to unfreeze it. And I'll probably have to jump through a few hoops to do that. But this is the first time I've seen my social security number put up there. But there's so many compromised entities that has your shit, that everybody's screwed. Like,
what was the one that just got hit like a week ago that was like the biggest one ever? Was that Verizon maybe?
Well, that's maybe where they're
AT&T?
getting this. Maybe if it's Verizon, maybe that's how they got it. I've had to use state stuff like, Medi-Cal. I mean, I know they never had the protection necessary for the insurance platforms and state benefits. Obviously, California lost billions of dollars with the unemployment, where like hackers were able to come in and fraudulently collect all these claims and the PPP loans and all that stuff,
Right.
too. Like this, like they just allowed themselves to be ripped off, to a point of negligence that's like unacceptable, to allow all that money, where it's almost like, did you really not know that people could come in and do this? Like, are you a part of this? Was this all by design to just let everything crash around us? Like, in the virtual world, all our credit's compromised. Inflation's just killing us in the real world. It seems like they're letting illegal aliens eat your cats and
it's a mess, dude.
At what point they go, "Oh, you want our help? Okay, we're going to go on a one world money system now.
Yeah.
We figured out a way to stop you from getting hacked, and just go ahead and sign away this." Because it's just too ridiculous what they're allowing to happen, and just throwing gas on the fire for it to be just by
here's what it was.
chance.
The National Public Data Company, which is like responsible for background checks in the country. So if
Oh,
you've
okay,
ever had a
great.
background check for a job, for security clearance, for whatever.
Well, for flying, I have to go through
yeah.
that to get my TSA pre.
Yeah. See, this says over 270 million Americans have had their social security number leaked.
Well,
on the
that's all
dark
of
web.
us. That's basically all of
everybody.
us. Yeah.
If you take out, we have 330 million in the country, right? If you take people under 18 out of the equation, that probably leaves 270 million.
Bingo. And I've heard other people, as I tell this story, somebody else is like, hey, mine's up there too. Like everybody, I think all of our social security numbers are suddenly up on there. So,
And that's why we're going to have to, we'll give you a chip that has a special number that's not available anywhere.
it seems like that would be like the only solution, right? I mean,
yeah,
to stop the madness of everybody's been violated through fraud.
We'll fix it. Just put out your arm and take a shot. Fuck you.
Right. Well, that's the problem, because once you go to some kind of digital thing like that, or one world thing, they could just shut you down so easily from there. But in order to get us to give up what we have now, they just have to have chaos on all fronts. And we're kind of watching it in real time now.
Yeah. It is scary. That is for sure, man. That's definitely nutty. So,
well, you want to take a little quick break, and I can refill my coffee, and
and then we'll just do maybe one or two quick things, and we'll get the fuck out of here. Because
sounds good.
We riffed for an hour.
yeah. Well, I think when we come back, we should maybe talk about our flu fighter buddy. Did you see him in the news today?
Who?
Dave, our buddy Dave Grohl.
Oh yeah, we could definitely talk about this.
I'm just thinking of stuff, and of course, if the watchers have anything they want us to discuss.
And I've got something too. I talked to Richie Kotzen today, who said something interesting to me.
Okay, good.
So we'll come back. We'll do a couple things here in a minute. So hang tight. It is Chris Akin Presents.
It's the limited edition 6-big set from Erik Ferrantino's. Get your autograph set today at ericbiggs.cmspn.com. $25 includes first class shipping.
I drag the floor with the keys to your city. I scratch the surface down into your life. I see the signs that we're here for trouble. A hard road and a rough behind. Killing time on things that money can buy.
It's the album that changed everything. Metallica's Black Album. In Cause and Effect, Metallica, author Chris Akin takes you back to the lead-up, the release, and the shockwaves that followed. Relive the moment that divided fans, reshaped heavy metal, and turned commercial radio on its ear. With insider stories and personal memories from rock critic and radio personality Chris Akin, this book is a backstage pass to one of rock's most iconic moments. Get your copy now at chrisakin.net or on Amazon. Don't miss out on this epic journey through heavy metal history.
And we are back right here on Chris Akin Presents. Myself, Mr. Erik Ferrantinos over there. And Erik, I'll just do this Richie Kotzen thing real quick because it's fairly quick.
Okay.
So I had the opportunity today to talk to Richie Kotzen, who I am a huge fan of.
He's
I
great.
think he can do no wrong, as a guitar player and as a singer. And I don't think he gets enough credit as a singer, but he's
as good as Chris Cornell, I think.
Well, you're playing right into my hands.
Okay.
So I asked him today, for people that don't know, he sounds exactly like Chris Cornell. I mean, he really does sound exactly like Chris Cornell. So I got to talking to him, and I asked him about would he ever consider joining a Soundgarden or a Audio Slave or something like that. Now, before I play his answer, I want to play him actually playing an Audio Slave song.
Oh, that's going to be great.
They played the Winery Dogs played an Audio Slave song with Tom Morello. Tom Morello showed up to one of their gigs, and they played a winery, or they played an Audio Slave song, Cochise, with him singing.
Why did they call it that? Why did they title that song that?
I have no idea. I don't know. I don't think the word appears in the song, so I don't know. It was probably some artsy thing.
Maybe it was a working title they gave it, and then they just decided to keep it.
Just said, or it probably had some meaning or something that we don't know because we're not smart.
Well, it's a cop thing, right, or something like that was one of the.
I thought it was a county, Cochise County.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that in Arizona, Cochise County?
Yeah,
I think.
Well, isn't the Beastie Boys video for Sabotage? Isn't one of the guys named Cochise?
Could be. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to think. Somebody saying Fuego saying it. Cochise was a native leader.
Oh,
okay. I don't know that, but I believe you.
Fuego spitting facts.
Knows more than me. All right, so let's check this out. I put it in a little bit so that you could just hear him playing. The audio's not great, but it's good enough, I think, that you can kind of make a judgment for yourself. So you tell me, could Richie Kotzen front either Audio Slave or Soundgarden? What do you think?
It's great.
He could do that.
He's got the same hair.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't today. He did in this picture. He does not today, as you'll see in a minute. But dude, before we even get to what he had to say,
right?
You're a guitar player, and I'm not asking you to hammer this guy. I'll do that for you.
Okay.
I think Tom Morello is the single most overrated guy today.
Oh.
I don't hear the special.
I'm gonna say that I respect him a lot because he's tight as hell as a recording artist and live. He has great guitar tones, and he's always done like an anti-guitar solo thing to where he always had these cool, hip hop thing tricks he was doing that aren't easy to execute.
Is it hard to do?
I think it is. I don't think anybody could just play necessarily Rage Against the Machines, like especially the solos and stuff.
Because I always just thought it was kind of pedal induced.
It is. I mean, he definitely needs his stuff. I'm sure he needs his stuff, but he can afford to have his stuff there to do it.
Yeah,
his tools. Just like me now. It's not that I'm dependent on anything. If I had to plug straight into an amp, I could do it, but I have my little setup I fly with, my little Tone X, so I make sure I have my same tone every night,
right.
And my couple pedals, my delay, my chorus things, it's all in one pedal thing that I just kind of stick out there, and one cable goes in. But I know people dog on him, but he at least when you're hearing Tom Morello, I know when I'm hearing his guitar.
And I'm not dogging on him. Look, I love Rage Against the Machine and Audio Slave.
Right.
Hate his politics. I wish you'd shut the fuck up and just play because I hate hearing from him.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I love Rage, and I never liked their politics, but I always loved the band. And I'm very big Audio Slave fan too because the
Audio Slave stuff is surprisingly good. Yeah,
it's very good.
Where he, guitar wise, even branched out songwriting. Riff wise, even further, and it was it was a shame that because I there could have been a lot of longevity with that. Hearing our buddy here sing, I bet you Tom Morello is definitely going.
I mean, just forget Tom Morello. What about the Soundgarden guys?
Right. Well, that's
The
who it would have to
Soundgarden
be.
guys are the
Right.
ones that should be looking at it and saying, we could make a lot of money with this.
But they would have to move on that. I mean, if
Yeah.
too much time goes by, that 90s, that Gen X generation is going to be
See, but the 90s is back. Look at last week with the Linkin Park.
right. Now that's
Linkin
a
Park
whole
came-
nother story too. Have you watched the kind of falling out since then?
Yeah,
with the
I
singer?
mean, nobody's going to care.
You don't think so?
Nope. I'm going to tell you why I don't think so. Because that aged people, the people that were into Linkin Park, don't give a shit. They don't care. They don't. They
Outside-
really.
About Scientology and the Masterson trial. And all
No, they
that?
don't
You
care.
think they
And
care?
the Masterson trial, I think, would probably give her cred, not take away.
that
they're-
she stood
they're-
up. That she stood
Yep.
up for him through it.
They're bigger fans of that 70s show than they are enemies of him because he raped some chick.
Right.
That's my
Right.
my read on it. I could be
Multiple
wrong
ones.
on that, but
Well, they have
I-
a couple. There's definitely a few thorns in the side of the band. The Mars Volta singer is dating or is married to one of the victims of
Right.
Masterson, and they are being very, very outspoken. And he has. I'm sure I haven't looked at how many followers that guy has from
I'm sure he
Mars
has a few.
Volta, but I'm sure it's over 50, 100,000, maybe
oh
more.
yeah. See,
And when he's out saying this, it can pick up steam where it could be a shit smear on this whole thing.
It could be. I just don't see it. I mean,
He's
They
saying now
so-
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the last thing I saw him say
Go
is, you watch, there's going to be Scientologists handing out stuff at each of these Linkin Park shows and all
there
that.
might be, and that would be a problem. I know this. They put 6 shows on sale. The first 2 sold out in an hour.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
so
was that
no
before,
one cares.
Was that before Chester Bennington's son came out and said that this is a disgrace, that his father would never have fucking had anything to do with this?
You know what? His son needs to, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to give disclosure. I am a big Linkin Park fan. I really, really enjoyed them when they were out. I got to meet them several times. Mike Shinoda is a really nice cat. Chester was a really nice cat. They were all very nice people.
Right.
So I got nothing bad to say about them other than after the 3rd album, they just started drifting into some weird. That's the part I think everybody's forgetting. Everybody loves, the debut and Meteora and Half a Minutes to Midnight. Everybody forgets that everything after that was total dog shit. That's one thing that's just sort of just been forgiven. But it was really bad there at the end. That being said, if you go out and you look at those songs on like YouTube or Spotify, every song, 500 million plays, 1 billion plays, 2 billion plays.
Yeah.
I mean, they were hugely...
No, it should happen and go forward. And
Yeah.
the promo picture I saw right away, I thought that she was cool and like the right age and look to do this gig. Like, it all made sense, but I was really surprised when this story came out about her and all this. Like, it was out of nowhere and it was interesting.
There's got to be a manager that is fired. Can you? I mean, that wasn't just, hey, let's bring her in. She's a friend. This was something that was done at a high level with management people, and somebody should have been background checking everybody and didn't do their job.
Maybe, or that group of Scientologists, they're part of an elite Hollywood thing and getting their
Could
people
be.
put in the right position. I mean, this should be a big money making band, and they want to put one of their agents in, right?
Yeah,
one of their
it could be.
Scientology agents in there that can now take that Linkin Park money and put it,
it
toward
into
the
their-
church.
Yeah, into their scam. But
Right. They have some of the biggest, Tom Cruise, some of the biggest names.
they do. Here's the real issue that I have with the reunion. She's not very good.
Now you're onto something, because at first I'm hearing people say how great it was, and I've seen a couple of things already, and it sounded to me, I'm gonna say local band. She sounded to me like you could find a female in every town that has a voice like that.
Yeah, she's not really good at all. And that was
Let's watch. Do you have a clip? Do you have a clip?
I'm pulling one right now.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm looking for like Crawling or something, because she just wasn't good.
I haven't even heard the new song by him.
Well,
yet.
the news. I could start there because, fuck it, we'll go in an unexpected Linkin Park segment.
Why not? It's big news. Big news this week.
It is big news.
And I have to say, that's another band that I was somewhat envious of. They're just the Diamond Status they have. First Hybrid Theory album just would not stop for like.
And I think Meteora
8
was
years.
as well. I think Meteora was Diamond too.
Mm-hmm. It was just.
I mean,
insane.
dude, they were huge.
And I just didn't understand it.
I see. I loved them. I was all in from minute one. Dude, my friend Bill Peters, I'll give him a free plug here. When they were happening, he was working for WEA, Warner Electra Atlantic, and they were a WEA band. And because of that, I got to meet these guys a few times and hang out with them, and it was just a lot of fun. And they were just down to earth, regular dudes, which made it a lot of fun. I mean, I'm a fan. I'm not a fan of this though, because this girl stinks. I think they overreached with we're going to bring in a chick and we're going to show that we've grown as a band. But no, they should have brought in a bald-headed screamer guy like Chester Bennington to do that sounds like Chester Bennington. They're reaching too far. I think they'll do fine on these 6 shows, but I don't think it's going to go much further than that, personally. I could be wrong. It wouldn't shock me, but here's the new song. Here's The Empty.
Yeah, this Heisenberg guy. Who's that?
I don't know.
I don't like his face.
He's the guy working at the prison or whatever they're doing.
Okay.
But here we'll play it.
Already seeing her face though. She has the face. Like if I was looking to cast somebody in something, she definitely works. Like with
she does. She looks the part,
look,
but
right. The look of these female leading actresses that have been chosen in these action movies lately. She has that kind of
she does. But she stinks. She's not a good singer. I mean, she's an okay singer, but she doesn't fit this band.
So she's about to make her appearance right here at the 60-second mark. Okay.
Yeah, here she's coming right in here.
Well, yeah, no, I'm actually, full disclosure, I'm hearing this for the first time.
Okay.
Right now. So, no, but that sounds like Linkin Park to me, definitely. I mean, the melody lines,
yeah, I mean, musically it's fine. I will give them this much credit. I like that they went back to being a rock band again. If this is indicative of what the album is, then I like that they're a rock band again. Because I like that
the emptiness machine. That's a cool phrase. I like that phrase. I think the chorus is good. The way it started was a little goofy, and it was the video was throwing me off with the Heisenberg guy.
Yeah,
it was very off-putting.
Let me find a different. Let me find you one of the live ones. Because that's the new song.
That says Pro Tools the F out. You know what I mean? Like,
let me find.
But it was that was cool.
It's okay. Again, I don't think she's very good, but it's more judging from. I watched this entire show, and I just didn't think she was very good.
This is a big show or small show they're doing.
They played like for fans only, like an announcement show, and they played for like an hour.
All right.
So. It was like the comeback. So here we go. I'll play Numb.
Can I get an encore? Do you want more? Cook and roll with the LP boys. For one last time, I need y'all to know. So what the hell are you waiting for? After us,
I don't like the girl.
For one last time, people make some noise.
Tired of being what you want me to be. Feeling so faithless, lost under the surface. Don't know what you're expecting of me. Put under the pressure of walking in your shoes.
Caught in the undertow, just caught in the undertow.
Every step that I take is another mistake
Nope.
to you.
Caught in the undertow, just caught in the undertow.
I become so numb, I can feel you there. Become so tired, so much more away. I'm becoming there. All I want to do is be more like them and be less like the other. Can't you see that?
It's average.
Well, Yeah, I mean, she at least she does the screams part and sounds like Chester on the scream parts. Not so much on the lower register stuff, which is a lot of his style of the back and forth. But I don't know. It's too soon to throw her out because she has other attributes, her look and whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there's that part of me that's like, okay, you've heard him play one show, you don't
give
know
her a
what she's gonna,
chance.
you don't know what she's gonna grow into or whatnot. But there is the part in my head that says, as a Linkin Park fan, no fucking way am I gonna go and spend $150 or more for a ticket to see this. No.
Well,
this is a tribute.
Yeah, and I don't know at what point they move from being full-blown arena act to doing the state fairs and
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still got this run anyway is going to be very big. These 6 shows, I mean, they're only playing, I think, L.A., New York, Chicago, Seoul, Korea, London, and I don't know, maybe Germany or somewhere.
like the O2 Arena or something.
Yeah, it's all big shows. It's all big, and it's only 6 shows, and that's going to do fine.
And spaced out so she could get her voice back because there's a high potential to blow your voice out.
But
doing those screams and shit.
I just don't see this. I don't see people connecting with this. I really don't. I just think people are excited to hear these songs,
right?
Because they haven't heard them in a while. But are people going to connect enough to say, well, Chester Bennington was a little too big a part of this band to still pay, big prices for this. That's what I think. I just don't see it. But they're not Oasis. Oasis coming back, it really wouldn't matter who the hell's behind them as long as they got the 2 brothers together.
Right.
Right? But
I've seen Oasis with the one brother, and that was really good too.
You saw 08 where they billed as Oasis?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. The guy who's coming back wasn't with it. And he's the one that sang in all the videos. Yeah, it was the chubbier brother was
with them. That's
Mm-hmm.
Noel.
Right.
Yeah, the skinny douchebag is Liam, but he
right,
rules.
Liam, but he's like funny and always,
he's the best.
Talking
and he's
crap
put
about
out some great music outside of Oasis. I'm gonna be honest, I've enjoyed what he's done outside of Oasis way more than I ever enjoyed Oasis. He's got a band called Beady Eye, which is fucking phenomenal.
Beady Eye.
Beady Eye,
to listen to that.
Beady. So the album is called like Different Speed, Different Crossing or something like that. There's 2 albums. Second album not as good. But the first one was great. It has a bunch of songs that sound like what you'd expect. Sounds like the Beatles meets the Stones. They even have a song called Beatles and Stones. Let me find that real quick, since we're just riffing around anyway.
Okay.
Let's see. Beady Eye, Beatles and Stones. Here we go.
Looks like that.
I just wanna rock and roll. When it beats in my mind, I just wanna rock and roll. I'm gonna stand the test of time, like Beatles and Stones.
Come on, that sounds like the Beatles.
Sounds like the Who meets the Beatles.
Yeah, it's
People
great.
try to put us down, talking about my generation.
Yeah, it's a
funny.
great band. It's a great band if you want.
It's cool. Like you got to go with an A+ for recreating the '60s almost.
Yeah, and you got to give Oasis
Almost
I
to
mean,
an
I don't
Austin
know.
Powers level.
How did they get so big?
Oasis?
Yeah, they were never huge here. I mean, Wonderwall was a big song.
People,
Champagne
yeah,
Supernova.
that generation mine and a little younger really loved some of those songs. Yeah, both of those.
I did too. I mean, I
It was
love
like 2 or
both
3
of those tunes.
bangers they had, and it
Yeah.
resonated really hard with everybody.
I just don't remember them being here. I mean, I saw them here, but I saw them at like the Odeon, which held like 800 people.
Now, controversy helps too. Like Liam always had a bunch of controversy and was
Yeah.
always talking huge smack. Now this Linkin Park girl is like already embroiled in some controversy, and it kind of propels things.
But does
as
it?
well.
I mean, Linkin Park was never that band.
Right, that's what's weird about it, because they weren't. They were more, like you said, kind of down to earth, or a champion of the wimpier kid.
Yeah, they were friendly. They were like friendly. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to play. I personally don't see. I wouldn't be surprised if they do the one album and the one tour and then they dump her. And then they just say, you know what, we didn't realize that she was a Scientologist, and
I would say
we're about community. We're not about isolation and blah 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 blah.
I agree that she'll fade out, just like, you know, NXS kind of did a little thing and then you know, faded out with their replacement singer, who has always end up having some issues.
Right.
But also something to consider is if I don't know what her history is with the Scientology or whatever. If she comes from a wealth or what have you, but some of these people realize that being a rock person is a lot of work, and maybe it isn't something they want to do, and they just go off to some island somewhere, and you don't see.
Well, she's not new. I mean, she's had a band that's been out there for
something. Killing Sarah or something.
Dead Sarah.
Dead Sarah.
Which
I checked out a song. I did check out a song. It was okay.
Yeah, they're all right. I mean, that's probably the most surprising part about her. I know I was saying that she stinks. She's not. She doesn't really stink. I guess that was maybe an overspeak, but she's not anything above average. And I would have expected a band that has the potential to be very, very big again to come back with somebody really good.
Yeah.
But didn't have to be a known guy, but I expected more of an Arnel Pineda to Journey guy, or the guy that came into Stone Temple Pilots that sounds just like Scott Weiland. You know, something like that. I didn't expect some singer that doesn't sound really much like Chester Bennington and trying to play the chick role because we're so inclusive with our band, but shut up. Just stop it. You know, bring me the ball.
I'm open to it. I'm
open to it if it's
somebody
good.
If it's a male singer that has a higher register, like we saw with Sebastian Bach when Lizzie Hale came in. There's something about it that worked because she was able to sing in that high register a lot easier and was younger, and maybe would have some longevity there. But that's not going to continue in that case.
I would be into it if it was good.
Right.
If they would have brought in Lena Scissorhands as an example, I would have been into that because she has a much better voice for that. Or what's the girl's name from Arch Enemy? Alyssa. Alyssa might be a little too heavy for that band, but somebody that has. I'll be honest. I was, and maybe I was hoping, just because I think this girl's amazingly hot. But I was hopeful that it was going to be Carla Harvey that just quit the Butcher Babies.
Yeah.
But
all these people you're mentioning have an identity already, where this chick was relatively unknown.
Yeah,
I mean,
relatively.
Who's heard of Killing Sarah or whatever?
Yeah,
Dead Sarah.
Well, yeah, I guess her price tag would be down.
I mean, and visually, she's visually works stunning. She looks like somebody you would cast in a movie or something. You know what I mean? She definitely has that look. She's clearly versatile. You hear her using the different voices. But they could probably mold her into whatever. And there's a lot on her shoulders right now with these huge shows all of a sudden in this. So hopefully she can hang in there. But I don't think it would have worked the same having one of these metal chicks coming in that's already has a career.
No,
like they have a chance to make this its own thing. So I could see
and
them
that's probably what they were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm sure they pretty much had their pick of whoever they wanted. You know, I would think. I mean, unless they're in an equal sized band.
Yeah.
I mean, who's going to turn down the gig to be the singer of Linkin Park?
There's got to be a ton of people guys on YouTube that can do covers that sound just like that. Yeah. But they had to go for something else, you know, take it in some other direction. But you know, best of luck with that. In the other news, Dave Grohl.
Well, hold on. Before we get to
sorry.
Dave Grohl, we'll
Okay,
finish
we'll
with
wait.
Dave Grohl. Let's
right.
go back to Richie Kotzen because we never did play what
you
he had
didn't
to
play
say
that. I do want to hear
about joining Soundgarden or
Audio Slave.
Audio Slave, and I asked him very directly. Chris Cornell. I mean, let me start over here. Maybe your voice sounds so much like Chris Cornell. I mean, so close. If there was ever that offer to you to come and do a tour with a Soundgarden or an Audio Slave or something like that to front that, would you even be interested in something like that?
I don't know. Because I don't think that's something that would ever happen. I don't, because I think that my pedigree, regardless of what you think I sound like, my roots are so deep in soul and R&B, and that's why I sing the way I sing. I look at myself as more of a soul singer that sings rock as opposed to a hard rock grunge singer.
Sure.
And so I don't know. I know people hear it the way they hear it, which is fine. And by the way, the comparison, I take it as a compliment because obviously I view him as one of the greatest of all time.
Because it sounded like he was getting pissed.
They say you'll never step.
It did. He was.
I was like, oh fuck,
dude.
This
Even
isn't
when I
going
asked the
good.
question, when he started talking, he was like, "No matter what you hear it like," I was like, "Oh man, did I just insult?"
Regardless of your stupid ears.
That's what it felt like. It did.
Oh man, my heart started going there.
All right, here's the rest of it.
Compliment. Okay, got it.
In a great man's shoes. And I feel like, I kind of, I am my own thing. I'm not looking to join anybody else's band,
Sure.
But the one thing that does strike me, I remember when Michael Hutchins died, I saw a video of Terrence Trent D'Arby with In Excess, and they did a tribute. And it was really powerful. So, those kinds of things, are really wonderful to participate in. And I've sung with Tom Morello and the Winery Dogs, Mike and Billy. We performed years ago an Audio Slave song.
Okay.
And that's out there on YouTube. So anybody that wants to hear that, actually, it's there. You can hear me singing a Chris Cornell song. But to actually go out and join someone's band, I mean, I don't even know how to answer that.
Right.
Anyway,
So it's similar to Lizzie Hale, where it's like, no, I mean, that was fun and, and so forth, but I wouldn't give up my deal to go join their band and hang up my guitar or whatever to do that. So,
yeah. And he's an artist. He's
Right.
not a guitar player or a singer. He is an artist. And I think there's a huge difference,
and there is if you listen more carefully, there is a difference in their voices, and he probably is a tinge of, not offended by you personally, but he probably hears that shit all the time.
Yeah, he probably does, and he may very well have been. Although I've known Richie for a little bit, so I don't think he was offended by me necessarily.
He's a
but
totally professional guy. He's like knows how to spin it and kind of, even for me, like you said some things earlier where I was like, I kind of had a chance to give my opinion on it. You know what I mean? Because obviously it's obvious that I don't have the 80s hair. You know what I mean? So. But it really doesn't come up as much. But I took it as an opportunity to just let people know how I feel about it, or whatever. And that's all he was doing as well. But we both, have heard these things before, I'm sure.
Well, I know this. Doesn't sound like we're going to hear him doing a Soundgarden show.
What I heard is that he's open to doing some limited engagement tribute to Chris Cornell. But he doesn't want to put any extended amount of time into something like that or commit to it as being the singer.
Dude, earlier in the interview, and I won't pull it up, but he has released 90 songs in 4 years.
Richie has?
Yes.
Wow, 90.
90. He did
he's making me feel lazy.
Dude, he did the full Winery Dogs album, which was like 13 songs. He did a full album and an EP with Adrian Smith. So that's like 20 more songs. He has his new album, Nomad, which is, I think, 10 songs or 8 songs or something like that. And he put out an album just because he was turning 50. He wrote 50 songs and recorded them
Oh,
for his
hey, why not?
50th birthday. 50.
Are they like 30-second
No,
songs?
they're all fleshed out, full songs with vocals and lyrics and.
Is it a compilation of all his work or something? I mean,
No, it was 50 new songs.
Are they any good?
I asked him about it. It's, it's funny because I asked him. I said, it took me several months to get through this, and I'm a fan, and I really am a fan of Richie. But I told him, I said, man, that's a lot of music. Do you think you put out too much for fans to ingest? And he laughed, but he goes,
maybe in your stupid head, Chris.
That's about what he said. He was like, I really don't give a shit what it took for you to get it done.
Yeah, a lot of idiots like you say that to me, and my answer is
that's about what he said too. That really is about what he said. He really was. I can play it. Hold on.
oh man.
I'll find it real quick. He was a little snarky today, that's for sure. But that's okay. I don't mind that.
Well, people with good taste have no problem listening to 50 songs in a row of me.
Yeah. All I know is when I get him to be a little bit snarky like that, that generally means that I'm asking better questions than everybody else with you got a new record. What's that like?
Right. Well, that you at least listen to it. But I mean, God, that's a lot of work. I mean, it seems like a lot of work that's going on deaf ears, maybe. I mean, I didn't even know he had that, let alone put up 50 songs.
Hold on, I'm going to find it here real quick.
How about 5 really good songs?
Well, that would have been good too. 05 at 50 or something. Let's see.
You said earlier, if it sounds like a progression of some kind, I think that's a real clear picture of what it is that I do, because the reality is 2019. It dawned on me, I kept it to myself, and when I came home, I started working on it. And then at one point, I go through all this, thinking about it further, see if I can't.
Where's me talking? B, through it. And B, was it too much music for fans to actually take in?
That's not my problem.
It's about to be your problem if you bring that up again.
I just like that. I was like, is that too much music for fans?
You can see he's smiling and laughing.
Yeah, he was just busting balls, but whatever. It's just funny. It's a great interview, by the way, that you guys can hear.
Yeah, it looks like
a month and a half or something when it comes out. But
it's not out yet. Okay.
No, it's only the one question is out there, but it'll be out. I think it's October 18th. I think is when it actually gets released. It's not for a while yet, but I did it this afternoon, and it was a good interview. So anyway, look for that if you're a Richie Kotzen fan. And last but not least, a guy that I am definitely not a fan of, and for him to do something this stupid, I'm not going to lie and say that I didn't do anything but chuckle when I saw this. Go ahead, sir.
Well, the first person that brought this to my attention was my lady, Susan.
Okay.
Who's a huge fan of his.
Okay.
And, what bummed me out is this upset her.
Why did it upset her?
Because she's like, if Dave Grohl is a scumbag like this, then what hope is there for anyone else? That plays music. Basically, like he was the only guy that had any dignity or whatever.
Dave Grohl.
Yeah, right. So, anyways, yeah, she was super bummed out, which made things tense with us because this was like, oh, there's no hope. All hope is lost now in the music world, or in relationship land, and or with dating a music man, if you will.
Okay.
So this was kind of an issue, and I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, you haven't heard the news. And Dave Grohl announces birth of daughter outside of marriage, says he is working to regain wife's trust. Well, right. Dave, I mean,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay.
Before we even talk about the story, I have a question about this whole premise.
Okay.
Why is this in the press?
Well, because he has to acknowledge that
Why?
Because he's public domain at this point.
If someone else finds it, then you could say it. Why does he have to make a statement? He's literally saying,
right,
look at me. I am your hero because I admitted this.
Mm-hmm. He's facing it head on.
Yeah, well, that's the public perception. The real thing is this is an attention grab. Again, from this attention guy.
He's spinning it in some way. Is that what you're
Yes. He doesn't need to. There's no... Dude, 1,000 musicians, probably more. Yes?
Oh, yeah, I guess so, yeah.
All right. How many of those 1,000 musicians do you think have ever cheated on the road?
Well,
950 of them?
Allegedly.
Allegedly, but a lot. More than less. Yes? Is more than less fair? I'm not even saying you saw it. I'm just saying right. From being 20 years on the road.
Well, right, yeah. Marriages, it's tough to stay married in these situations, but go ahead. Where are you going with this, Mr. Aiken?
Okay. Where I'm going with this is that I'm not saying that what he did is wrong or is right or wrong. Honestly, I'm not saying either. I'll say it. Let me take that back. I'll say it is wrong. If you married somebody and you didn't have some agreement that you could, the travel clause or whatever in your relationship, then you got to be faithful to that. And if you're not, then honestly, the wife should take him for half of the Nirvana money. That's just
how long has he been with her? Has he been with his wife?
I don't know that.
The whole Foo Fighters marriage,
married in 2003.
2003.
So that's Nirvana too.
That's no. He died in 94.
Oh, 94. That's right. Not 2000.
Yeah. No, and this is
so
way
it's
later.
the Foo Fighters run.
Right, but that's a lot of bread.
That's a lot of coin.
He's got to be worth like $100 million. I think she's totally going to file for divorce. That's my prediction. I don't think, and I mean this. I looked at this like an attempt.
And do you think he's doing this to get out in front of it?
Well, to just show how regretful he is, but I mean, really, it's the fact that this child was born. He might not have even been discovered as being a bad man. A bad husband. But I'm not judging him on that. That's his personal problems or whatever. It seems, the chatter.
$330 million he's worth.
Yeah, it's an extremely large amount of money to where this is a ticket to her to have $150 million right now. To
walk
exit.
away from a cheating piece of shit.
Right, who now is out there letting the whole world know what he's done, and things are going to be so weird and awkward with everything and everybody. And really, if that's where he's at in his life, he should just go and give his wife half everything right immediately.
Just walk away.
And then just go have fun for the rest of your life, Dave. Because
that's what he ought to make her some kind of offer right now. We can avoid all the attorneys. We can avoid everything else. Here's $70 million.
Right.
Do you want $70 million or do you want to piss away 50 of it while I can
She probably wants the whole 150, and she will tie this up. The alimony, whatever. I don't know what kids they have.
Yeah, it's going to be a nightmare.
They have young kids, right? Or what?
Yep. Here's the bigger question. Is he really a piece of shit? And before you answer, let me throw this out there. He's cheating here. He's admitting that he cheated here and didn't wear rubber and got this bitch pregnant and had a kid. Fair enough. She ain't the only one. We are only days away from somebody coming out to TMZ saying, Dave Grohl fucked me in Houston. Mm-hmm. This is coming.
I didn't think about that, but you're right. That's probably, the attention's on right now. Oh, I could tell you something about him.
Yeah.
We're going to start hearing
let me
more
tell
things,
you,
more
here's the
victims.
story. Here's a picture of me and Dave at my house. Here's a picture, it's coming. He opened the door to where this is going to be a nightmare for him.
It's got to be tough for him in the sense of knowing that you are worth that much that, that his seed, if you will, could potentially be worth millions.
Of course.
Even if it went in a, I don't want to be gross about it, but girls do weird things to steal that from you and whatever, and
hold it in their mouth, spit it in a bag.
I wasn't going to say it.
I'll say it. I don't care.
I wasn't going to say it. That's gross. You're disgusting.
I am. But think about even more. Let's take this even further. He also had a bandmate die of an overdose not even 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
Mm.
So what is going on in his camp?
Or
There's philandering, there's
he
drugs.
plays Satan and he kills his band, and then the guy dies like a week later.
But think about taking this to court. Think about a courtroom. Your Honor, how can I let this man around my children when he's got people dying of drugs and he's banging chicks, and here's
Right.
Exhibit A, and here's a baby he had with somebody outside? How do I explain to our
He's
children
going to need to
that
give me
this
the
is their
alimony or
sister?
the baby child support, because obviously the kids need
Yes.
to be with me all the time.
Admitting this was the dumbest shit he could have ever done.
Yeah, I'm still mad with you know, the pushing the agenda with Pfizer and all that for his shows.
Well,
and,
that too.
you know, because I'm still haven't gotten over that, and I was so turned off by it. And then now to know that he was out not using condoms and stuff just shows how unsafe he is in other areas, you know, or whatever. He should just shut up. All you know, all
I'm gonna
around.
say justice has been served.
Yeah,
Because that shit with the vax and stuff, now you're getting your just due.
right.
You're going to lose half of everything, my friend, because the wife is not. Why would a wife stay for that?
Dave Grohl soared so high he touched the sun, and now is getting scorched.
Yeah. But why would she stay?
Now, I don't
He's
see a
got to
reason-
go back out on tour again. She's
Right.
never going to trust him.
No, you're right. You're right. She is.
She's never going to be like, well, I know you stuck your dick in this one, but I'll forgive it. Oh, you're going back out on tour for 6 months? Well, I'll see you then.
Right.
I trust you.
Look at that.
I trust you.
It's
Come
over.
on.
It's over. Well, how long? The gamble should be like, the bet should be on when. When is this
Dude,
going to be
you've
announced?
been in relationships. You are now, but you've been throughout your time with Stephen Piercy. If you get the wrong text, you're not trusted
Right.
in a relationship, because the chicks always think that you're out there banging.
Their imaginations can run wild. Let me tell
And
you.
that's what I'm saying. He admitted it.
Right.
And
Yeah,
you
he's
know
admitting
this,
it out there.
and this is the telling a cop you had 2 beers story.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Really, honey, it's the only time I ever cheated.
Mm.
And I just happened to have a kid. Bullshit. His list is 1,500 deep. Come on. He's Dave Grohl. He's been a megastar since 1990.
Mm-hmm.
This guy has banged 1,000 chicks.
You know, he and his music, you know, people love the Foo Fighters. I mean,
People love the Foo Fighters.
They love them.
Yeah, I mean, he's not Ted Poley. I mean, he's a guy.
Would you
and
say
that's
he's
not-
the voice of a generation?
I would say he is of this current rock generation. Yes, he's the biggest in rock. Who's a bigger star than him?
No, in rock, definitely, I would put him up as the biggest.
He's the biggest guy, and there's no way he hasn't. He only got one pregnant that we know, and again, that we know of. You're going to tell me that? What do you think the odds are that that's the only one?
Yeah, I don't know, but used to be
Somebody
back
going
in
to
the
be coming.
day, the big stars would always have those kind of tests and in court things and people claiming stuff.
You don't think that Gloria Allred's already talking to 10 people to get DNA tests of little Johnny?
Right.
Little Johnny Grohl that's 13 and has a beard and looks like him?
You know, Beetlejuice has a little crazy baby in the Beetlejuice movie. That's pretty awesome. It's like a little Chucky.
Nice.
It starts nibbling at people's legs and stuff.
I just think Dave Grohl is screwed here.
I do too, man. I mean, my first thought was that he went out there to just show his wife that he's really made a huge mistake. But then when you mention why is this out there, I don't know, man. There must be like, what else are we going to hear in the upcoming weeks?
There's a lawyer that made a very bad mistake here, unless they already know something else is coming. They got to know something else is coming. Why else would you do? Why wouldn't you just keep this to yourself between you and your wife?
Yeah.
Why
it's
wouldn't
confusing.
you? You wouldn't unless there's more.
Right. Or the mother of this child's about to do a big expose about it.
And it could be that too. And if there's a mother that's getting ready to sue, which I'm sure he's not doing this by sending out baby announcements. I'm sure this is coming because the mother's saying, "Give me $50 million to raise your child, sir."
Right.
Don't you? I don't think this is a grand celebration of this beautiful daughter that he just had. I think this is a real ugly thing that's about to hit Dave Grohl.
I'm curious, like who the mother is and how old she is, and that's interesting.
It's going to be a mess. You know who it's going to resemble? Tiger Woods.
Is she going to be a teenager, or is she going to be in her 20s or 30s?
20s.
You think she's going to be in her 20s?
24. Works at a Denny's that they had dinner at after a show.
No.
Could be.
No. This is gonna be big news, man. These are all big news.
Fuego hit it on the head. Could be a stripper in Iowa or somewhere.
Right.
Could be.
They're the ones that are shifty enough to do the thing you mentioned before.
Well,
something like that.
I mean, dude, this could very well be a manager that gets handed the old Def Leppard model. Go get me 5 of those real hot chicks over there. Bring them backstage. You guys get 2. I get to pick. I get to pick the best
such
one.
risky behavior. You know what I mean? Like, just for me, who's nowhere. I mean, God, this guy is out of the whole galaxy as far as earnings go, Dave.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like a peon down at the bottom here, but I have a really good life, you know, here on the beach. I love my cats. I love my lady. Like, I don't want anything currently going on with my home life to change. And there's like nothing out there right now that's worth losing that for me right now. Like, and especially how busy we are, just like the traveling. I don't even have time for that shit. Maybe if I had guitar techs working on the guitars that were trustworthy to have everything working for me, but with all the preparations that go into these shows and the guitars and everything, I have no time, nor do I want to have time, or is it worth the risk of losing all this? So I'm surprised he's going to risk losing all that money. Brian from Tennessee, Dave is going to end up like Tiger Woods. Bitches are going to be coming out of the woodwork. I do believe that. He probably does have all that too. He probably has people in his hotel room that are just appear there. They were hiding out and knew he was going to be there, or in his closet.
I don't think it's even that. I think that the backstage, and again, this is speculation. I know nothing because I'm not a Foo Fighters fan. I don't think I've ever met anybody in the Foo Fighters other than what's his name? Taylor.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I met
he
Taylor.
did a lot of interviews. Yeah,
I never interviewed him, but I met Taylor when he was in Alanis's band. I met Taylor Hawkins then. Okay. When he was with Alanis. But I just think that the backstage in the hotel for the Foo Fighters is a big fucking party. Which is why you got people ODing on drugs and you got women that are getting knocked up.
I have to be honest, I'm surprised it was I'm almost a little relieved that it was a woman he was involved with all the cross-dressing this guy's done in his videos over the years.
Yeah. Well, that wouldn't shock me either. If a guy comes out and says, he fucked me in the ass.
Something. Or no, probably the other way around.
I fucked him in the ass, little bitch.
Yeah, I was like, why do you have this other guitarist in your band? What's he around for? You know?
I banged him in the ass singing Rape Me.
Come on.
It's a Nirvana joke. Come on. That's funny.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I feel for the guy because he's about to go through a hella year or more because this is definitely gonna be ugly lawsuit territory here.
Yeah.
But you know what? Maybe you shouldn't have been telling people what to do when you're a piece of shit.
Do you know anything about James Hetfield's marriage that ended? That was pretty recent too, right?
That was fairly recent. He's already with somebody else. Big shot.
Already with somebody else, but that has to be. I mean, he's worth
that's
twice as much as Dave Grohl.
That's a lot of money there. But
it's so much money. Where is it? I mean, I could see if you have 10 million, you don't want to really lose 5 of it.
Yeah.
But if
You
you
got
have
500 million, who
500
cares?
million, what are you going to do with that? I mean, why wouldn't
Yeah.
you be able to like make a comeback from losing half of that? Like if you still have 150 million, you should be
Well-
able to make that money work for you for the rest of your life and just
Well, look
move
at what
this.
Slash did. Slash lost 60 million, I think was the number, to that Perla. 60 million. That's a big chunk.
Wow.
And what did he do? He jumped back in Guns N' Roses and did some tours, and he made it all
Right.
back. It's like nothing. You know, it's like
Yeah.
Metallica. Metallica will be doing 3 nights of 3 different sets
Right.
in the next tour run if James needs money. But
That's
can't
always
imagine.
kept these rocker guys out there. Like none of them were ever able to just like rest after their big 80s thing because they had these ex-wives and child support and college and this and that. And then all of them, no matter how many records they sold, they're still out working.
Yeah. Hetfield's divorce had to be pricey too, because if I'm not mistaken, I think he married the wife on like Black Album tour.
Ooh.
Like in that
Right.
set of money.
While they were writing the
That's
Black
the
Album.
set of that's the money there.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. That's none of it's look, we shouldn't make fun. I mean, divorce sucks. It's
does.
awful. It's brutal. Look, I've been through it, and I whined like a bitch for a solid year. I wrote a book about it, because it is brutal. And I don't even a guy like Dave Grohl, who isn't a monumental cunt for sending everybody to put poison in their arm in order to see his fucking shows.
Yeah.
I still don't want anybody to feel that. And man, he's going to have a long. This is not the end of this story. That's all I know. There's going to be 10 more girls that come out. This is going to go very Tiger Woods. Okay, Jackal says 97, so that would have been what? Load, not Black Album. I guess that's a little better.
That's when he married his wife
Yeah.
in 1997.
Yeah. So that would have been Load or Reload. Still hot time. Metallica was still kings of the world.
Right. Now his kids are adults, Hetfield's kids. I mean, they're
Yeah.
playing music and they're adults now, right? All over 18.
Yeah, his kid has that band Bastardine, something like that. So
Yeah, it's rough, man. I don't envy his problems that he's having right now.
no, not at all.
No matter how
For
much
his-
money you have, this is just a giant suck of your soul.
Yeah, this is going to be a long year for you, Dave. I look forward to your announcement of, in order to better concentrate on these tough times with my family, we're going to be canceling all touring for the next 12 months. That announcement's coming soon.
You think so? I would, yeah,
Oh,
because you think he's going to stay off the road for the next.
He's going to have to. He's going to be in court. He's going
Do you think he's going to be a
part?
part of this kid's life now that everybody knows he has one?
I think he has to be now that he
He's
made
going
it
to be
into a
asked about
statement.
that a lot.
Now that he turned it into a public thing, now he has to be in there in the kid's life, doesn't he?
Yeah.
What a mess. Sorry, Dave. This was a bad play by you, friend. Oof.
Wow.
All right, and on that fun note, I think we're done.
Yeah. We're back, folks. We're back.
We are definitely back. Well, since we're back and you are touring, where will you be touring?
Right.
And not banging waitresses and
No, not
strippers
this guy.
3 at a time.
Everybody in our band is in a relationship right now, so there's like none of that going on. I can tell you. But
It's the boring backstage at the
it's
Stephen
pretty
Pearson
boring.
show.
I'm going to tell you, very boring. It's nothing like back in the 80s or 90s for that matter.
Hey, I see those videos that you take walking around,
Right.
showing the food tray.
Oh, there we go. What happened there? Yeah, I try to do some backstage videos, some tour blogs. If you get on the Erik Ferentino subscriber page, Chris gets to see this. That's the most video I put out. I've been
Right.
starting to do like full blown tour blogs for each day of the show. So any Stephen Pearson shows you see coming up, I did like a tour blog for it. That's on my subscriber page. It's only $1. You also get to be a part of the Fright Bite, which I was going to say, Chris, maybe we should start showing the first 10 minutes or so of the Fright Bite for Chris Akin Presents for that 4th week, and then cut right when we start the movie, cut it off, and then kind of build the value.
I can do
that
that, but I can set. I know on. Well, yeah, we can do it. We can figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
We can figure that out. That's fine. We'll make
But
it work.
that's about it. But where am I going to be? I'm going to be in Amarillo, Texas. I have to fly out Friday night, and then Saturday we're playing with Queensryche, Slaughter, and Steven Adler. So this is going to be a pretty badass rock show, to be honest.
Hell yeah.
Yep, and then we'll be back on the 17th, and then I'll be taking off to do 2 Michigan shows in Chesterfield and Kewadin Casino with Steelheart.
Okay.
So that should be interesting. I'm still doing a lot of rocking this month.
Very good. Well, I'll be in my normal haunts. I'll be with Seth tomorrow, I'm sure, being that he is just blowing up my phone as well as 15 other people about the debate that's going on right now. I'm sure we'll be talking
about
the
debates tonight. Mm-hmm.
We'll be talking about the debate tomorrow on the Seth Show, I would imagine. And then Saturday I'll be back on CMS. We'll be doing that all again. So, goody. Blah, blah, blah. All right, let's get the fuck out of here.
All right.
For Chris Akin Presents, I have been Chris Akin.
And I'm Erik Ferentinos.
And we will see you guys next week. See ya.
Mohawks fighting wild. Beach Midwest living like a child. Chris ate those crickets that he's in hell. Dreams of bacon and cheese, now he fell. Eric's gone, SF1 screams loud. Guitar